All right, Kevin here with New Avenue. We are going to do a tour of an accessory dwelling unit in Berkeley, California. That's a two-story addition behind a smaller house. Randy Ruiz here has been the architect on the whole project, and I think it's important to note that some of our projects, we do a administration process, our own software that we created. Then we have design, which is in-house design services, and then construction. We can do all three of those services all together, or sometimes we do any one or any two of those. So on this side, there was some administration, and then Randy led the entire design process. I wanted to start here before Randy goes through and talks for a little bit about all the different design and architectural attributes of this building. I want to start out here to show, you can see the size of the house, and then the size of the addition, the two-story ADU plus addition to the main house on the back. A very complicated project. Randy will try to describe all the intricacies of it, but I think that's the key thing. It's a complicated two-story addition, ADU addition combined. One thing to note, this is the rough construction phase. It's raining this week, so this is an active construction site with no prep. We're just going to show you what it's like when you're getting the rough carpentry, and then soon to becoming the roofing. After that, you get the mechanical systems, the electrical, the gas. So it's early in the construction process, active construction site.
So we're in a neighborhood in West Berkeley. It's filled with these bungalows, which are very typical from over 100 years ago. They're really nice houses. They've aged well for the most part, but a lot of them need upgrades, and they're all very small by contemporary standards. What's more is that they weren't really designed for the way people are living nowadays, where they are wanting to live with extended family, they're wanting to have their adult children live with them. And so all these houses, which are 800, 900 square feet, 2 bedrooms, they need to be upgraded, they need to be updated. And in this case, this family here wanted to be able to create a place for their parents to live and to be able to accommodate their growing family. So they're really looking to make something that over doubles the size of their original house and accommodates the extended family and their growing family, their children, and their lovely cat, who we might see on this trip. So you can see the house has been well taken care of. It's got beautiful landscaping, but it still isn't meeting all of their needs. And so we were brought in to help figure out how to get the property to really give them as much as possible, because otherwise they'd have to find a new place to live, and no one really wants to do that. They like it here. So once again, very typical of these houses, there's a narrow little driveway that leads to an old garage that wasn't used as a garage because these things are way too small for contemporary cars. People still use these driveways to park in, and this is great for us to be able to get in and out for the contractor to build the house. So the original house ends here, and this was all backyard before. The typical assumption is that an ADU is done in the backyard and is detached from the rest of the house. But this house, we wanted to take a different approach and attach the ADU to the house because it allows us to preserve more of the backyard and to keep that open space and the landscape that's back there. This project is an attached addition that includes an ADU, and that's in part because we're both adding an ADU for the parents of one of the clients. Not only are we adding an ADU for a parent of one of the clients, we are substantially adding on to the existing house, which is only a 2-bedroom house. The addition is going to make it into a 4-bedroom house and add more bathrooms and make it much nicer for the growing family that's going to live here. So the clients wanted to add 3 bedrooms, and the bedrooms are being added upstairs because the ADU is going to be for aging parents, and so having as few steps as possible for the aging parents makes a lot of sense. The area needed for the bedrooms is much, much larger than the area needed for the ADU by itself. So because of that, we ended up creating this other extra special room that wasn't originally part of the plan, but this is now going to be a family room off the back of the kitchen that's going to serve the family that lives here. And this stair is going to connect to their bedrooms upstairs. And then out here, where you see the garage, is going to be a patio area and landscaping, and it's going to be very much for the occupants of the primary house. And the ADU is going to be oriented to have its own private area in the backyard that's separate from this. So the site plan has been laid out to create these different exterior spaces that are associated with each of the house. So it's not like they're going to be complete strangers with a wall in between, but they'll each have their own outdoor space to be able to go out to and take advantage of. And there's also this idea that's really common in modern California architecture of outdoor living. And this room does that by creating what will be a large bifold glass door that will open up onto a patio and create this continuous space that connects this indoor entertainment space with an outdoor entertainment space. And that's emphasized by doing subtle things that are architectural, like having this wall continue out past the plane of the glass, which is going to be here. And little subtle architectural gestures like that do a great job of connecting and implying a continuity of the space from the inside to the outside. So on the other side of this wall here is actually going to be the bedroom for the ADU. And this will be a wall. It's framed now, but we get to step through it like ghosts. This will be the primary bedroom for the ADU. On the other side of this will be a walk-in closet, and on the other side of that is a bathroom that had been part of the original primary residence, but is now going to be readapted to be the bathroom for the ADU. Walking back towards the backyard, this is actually the entry into the ADU. The walkway will come along the side yard setback between the fence and the old house. And there's actually also a secret passage that I can't really show you today that will connect through the laundry room into the rest of the house. And it will be lockable so that in the future, if this space was to be rented out, you'd be able to keep it completely separate from the rest of the house. And you can pretty much easily tell that it's going to be an L-shaped kitchen. There's an option for a mobile island or not, and just a dining room table and the living room setups over there. Once again, there's this idea of creating a connection between the inside and the outside. Right here is going to be a large sliding glass door, and this wall continues out into the backyard, connecting the inside and the outside to what will be a small patio area. So on the other side of this wall is the yard that is associated with the primary residence. And so there aren't a lot of windows in here because they have their own backyard that's out that way. But there are a few windows, and they're out at the end, and they're in this little corner. And it makes it very hard to see what's actually going on out there. So there will be this privacy. But this window, I think, is going to be kind of cool because it takes this wall straight from the inside to the outside, and it allows us to kind of see these things as planes that are separate from one another. And it's kind of a architectural composition thing where the ground floor is conceived of as a series of vertical planes that are at 90 degrees to one another. And this kind of game, by having the planes slightly miss one another, helps us to see them as planes instead of as boxes, which it ultimately really is. So everything's composed. There is an architectural language here, and the language on the ground floor is mostly of these planes, like this wall over here, that slide out into the landscape and create a connection between the inside and the outside. And the upstairs, mostly in the form of these boxes sitting on top of those planes. Here's a place where that rule kind of breaks a little bit, where the box up above is going to come down to the ground and be sort of rooted into it. But then it goes up, and the form of the house kind of goes up, wraps around, and comes down on the other side, stretching across the top of this wall, which will be much more apparent when the final siding materials are on it and the trespass siding that we're using on this project. The primary bedroom is up above, and there is a balcony that comes off of that provides views out towards the Berkeley Hills. I'm standing in the kitchen of the primary residence, and the contractor has built this temporary wall to allow construction to take place out here. So let's go upstairs and check out the bedrooms. So you come up the stairs and you arrive on this landing in this small hall, which efficiently connects the bedrooms and the bathrooms to one another. And then there's this generous window that actually creates a slot between one of the children's bedrooms and the primary bedroom that helps express them as separate volumes from one another and allows a lot of light to come into the space. So it'll even though it's a relatively small room, it'll be a really nice light-filled spot when you get to the top of the stairs. The closet's through the bathroom, and there's been a real effort here to create axial relationships between the outdoors, the indoors, and between some of the interior spaces. Everything's kind of organized to fit together just so that there are opportunities for windows and light to come through, and also to kind of express the program of the space through the architecture, through these different boxes that are separated from one another by the stair, by this window slot, and so on. So in an earlier renovation, the owners of the primary house had turned the back bedroom into 2 bathrooms while adding another bedroom into the backyard. That bedroom was added illegally without any permission from the city, and it violated the code in a number of ways, including that it was built over the setback line. So we devised a strategy to basically used some of the foundation of that addition that had been done illegally for the new addition. But basically where the bedroom had been added, that's now going to be the ADU bedroom downstairs. So when all is said and done, this is going to be a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house that's going to double the size of what had been here before. And then in addition to that, there is an ADU that has 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom, and it's downstairs.